What am I... blast it all! This just won't do!
Hey Xandar, you good? What's with all the yelling?
Oh, Mateus, you've caught me in the midst of a right conundrum. One that would perplex the wisest magical minds of our time.
Okay, so are you good, or...?
Oh, it's just too much to bear. Try as I might, I cannot find a solution for this travesty.
Okay, man,
Hey, did you talk to him about the noise yet? We really can't afford another noise complaint.
Oh, Zacharias, please, might you be able to assist me in my anguish?
Guess that's a no. All right, buddy, what's the problem?
In preparation for our upcoming campaign, I have been trying to create a setting that is present in these fantastical books by one H.P. Lovecraft. However, I have turned to these 5e tomes you both cherish so much, and yet try as I might, I cannot capture the energy of this world using these books. I fear I might have to cancel our game if I do not find the solution post-haste.
that's the problem? You want to run a Cthulhu game, but 5e doesn't fit?
Yes.
Have you tried Call of Cthulhu?
I am unfamiliar with this Cthulhu, and for what reason would he have to contact me on my cellular device?
Okay, right, let's just...
I got it. Call of Cthulhu, my personal favorite TTRPG system, and the one that I had previously mentioned in our video discussing horror in Dungeons and Dragons. While D&D is a system that caters to the fans of fantasy and those who wish to go on great harrowing adventures, Call of Cthulhu is for the horror fans. This is a system meant to make you feel vulnerable. It puts you in the position of a grounded setting where you and a party of investigators face down threats that not a single one of you is equipped for. And that is what makes it so much fun. There is a beauty to this system that I feel not many other TTRPGs can capture. The feeling of dread that comes from every session, knowing that at some point your character could die or experience traumas that leave a permanent impact. This isn't a system for the faint of heart, with some even referring to it as the Dark Souls of TTRPGs, a term that feels like it's lost a lot of meaning, but I feel conveys my point here. But that being said, if you can get a group together who is willing to play with such dangerous high stakes, it can lead to some of the most enjoyable and memorable campaigns you will ever run.
Every tabletop RPG has its own quirks and features, and while you can absolutely stretch a TTRPG's thematics with homebrew and additional source books, there eventually comes a time where your favorite system just isn't going to cut it for what you have in mind. And that's why we implore you guys to branch out and try new systems. I know how many of you are horror fans out there, and as Zach said, D&D just isn't really built to cover themes of horror and terror, and that's okay. So we as Dungeon Masters in this case must look beyond the Forgotten Realms to find something that can enable us to bring our vision to life. Call of Cthulhu is dark, gritty, terrifying, and unforgivingly difficult. Combat is dangerous, investigations are tense, and the vibes are immaculate. Call of Cthulhu gives you more tools than you could ever need to lead your party through a city that never sleeps and its descent into madness. Welcome to Maybe You Should Try, or MYST for short, and today we're going to tell you why you should try Call of Cthulhu.
So with all the preamble out of the way, what about Call of Cthulhu actually makes it work the way it does? How does this system allow for moments of terror that Dungeons & Dragons does not? Taking one look at a standard Call of Cthulhu 7th edition character sheet will reveal that to us. In this game, you are not an adventurer with a class that enables you to do some crazy feats of strength. You are an investigator, a regular human being whose skills are all about aiding in roleplay-based investigations. Taking one look at your list of skills and features, very rarely will you see any that are designed for combat aside from a select few meant to be used for self-defense. As well as this, your your hit points are much lower than any D&D characters would be, and you even have a secondary health bar of sorts in your sanity meter, which we will explore more deeply later. All of this to say, Call of Cthulhu immediately works by making the objective of the game different and by using that new objective to play into its themes of horror. Sessions aren't about crawling through dungeons to find loot and slay monsters, they are about trying to solve mysteries with a group of other normal people while trying not to lose your mind in the process.
In Dungeons & Dragons, you have this fantastical party full of might and magic that are more than equipped to scour the dungeons for loot and slay the dragon for its hoard. Well, this isn't D&D, and you're not full of might or magic, and you are not equipped to handle the beasts below. You are a group of everyday people thrust into a world full of incomprehensible horrors and danger. The system strongly discourages confrontation, so much so that running away has its own dedicated mechanic. You are not setting out to kill any demon you come across, you are actively trying to avoid them at all costs. I cannot stress this enough, if you get into a fight, you are not getting out scot-free. If your party tries to tackle combat in this system like they do in D&D with like an air of confidence about them, they're quickly going to learn that the most common outcome of getting shot in the chest is that you are going to fucking die. Encounters are extremely punishing in Call of Cthulhu, which is why the game gives you as a dungeon master an in-depth injury system where higher damage can give your party various injuries. The way it works is if an attack deals damage equal to half or more of a character's maximum HP, it's a major wound, causing them to fall unconscious and requiring a constitution roll to avoid unconsciousness. You could break their leg, pop an arm out of the socket, and have concussions. These injuries and statuses will teach them that combat has serious consequences and is a major commitment. Healing of major wounds involves weekly constitution rolls with successful rolls restoring HP and critical successes removing the condition, meaning it takes time to heal from these mistakes. Trust me, a broken femur is quite the incentive for your party to become afraid of combat. And if your party has already learned the weight of getting into a fight, and they continue to push the envelope, they knew the risks. As Ronald Reagan would say,
"Kill the bastards."
And you see, the beauty of that is that because this system discourages combat of any kind, suddenly every little moment of roleplay is met with a tension that isn't normally possible in other systems. A mad maniac is loose in a building the party was investigating? Well, with the threat of a single stab wound potentially leading to terrible consequences, now they're going to want to avoid that maniac at all costs. They will want to hide or run for fear of the fact that if he finds them, it's game over. This will also make smaller moments of roleplay stand out more. You would not believe how paranoid a group of players can get the moment there's any implication of danger in this setting. For example, say in your typical D&D campaign, the group encounters a suspicious NPC, a potential bandit, for example, who tries to be buddy-buddy with one of your party members, but is clearly hiding his true intentions. In D&D, usually a party is going to go about this with an air of confidence. They may be cautious about interacting with this individual, but there will always be a feeling that they can handle it if things go south. Let's take that same situation and reframe it in the context of Call of Cthulhu. A member of the group is faced with a suspicious individual who could be dangerous, but there's no immediate way of knowing. This situation is terrifying despite its mundanity because of the great risk of death. If this guy is potentially dangerous, if he has a weapon, if the player goes about this entire interaction the wrong way and says the wrong thing, it could have dire consequences if the individual they're talking to ends up actually being dangerous. Higher risk means consistently higher tension, even in moments where nothing much is going on that is overtly scary.
The danger doesn't stop at combat either. Another amazing aspect of this system is that even the downtime will carry risks. As we mentioned before, Call of Cthulhu has a sanity system, which functions as sort of a secondary health bar for your players. During routine investigations, your party can come across a multitude of horrors beyond their comprehension. Monsters, gods, decaying bodies, animated corpses, and other absolutely horrible things, and witnessing these grotesque sights will come at a cost. each character has a sanity score. When they come across something that would challenge their sanity, they have to roll against that score. For example, my detective has a sanity of 50. Therefore, if I roll below a 50, I succeed. Above, I fail. If they fail, they will take a certain amount of sanity damage proportionate to the event itself. If they succeed, however, they only take reduced damage. Once a player takes sanity damage, they then go on to an intelligence check where they will determine how severe the damage to their psyche actually is. The kicker is, if they succeed the check, the mental shock can actually be worse than if they fail. The reason being that if they succeed this intelligence check, that means they're actually able to comprehend the horror they're seeing, meaning they take more damage than someone who's just too damn stupid to understand. This introduces a sort of trade-off. If your intelligence is low, that means you won't be as susceptible to sanity damage, but you'll just be less useful in investigations. Or you can take high intelligence, be very useful in investigations, and run a much greater risk of going crazy. Speaking of crazy, if they take enough sanity damage, then they will begin to have actual psychosis. Yes, your party can actually go nuts in this game if they're not careful. The game has 4 unique levels of insanity, and they function as follows. There are bouts of madness, which are triggered by failing any sanity roll. These are immediate and short-term losses of control, such as jumping in fright, screaming out loud, crying, basically a brief loss of control. Then there is temporary insanity, which lasts for 1d10 hours and involves a second phase where a single further sanity loss can trigger another bout of madness. Then we have indefinite insanity, occurs when you lose 1/5 of your current sanity score in 1 day, and it is a more profound mental break that will last until you get professional help or the session ends. And then we have permanent insanity. If your sanity score drops to 0 or below, then you are on the path to permanent insanity and the loss of your character. Yeah, you heard that right. If your party reaches permanent insanity, that's it. Game over. Their character goes nuts and is out of the campaign. So in reality, nowhere is safe for them. They can't get into fights or so much as look in a closet without heavily considering the ramifications of what could be on the other side.
Now, with all of that stated, the one thing about Call of Cthulhu that should be kept in mind is that due to the volatile nature of each session, campaigns for it are naturally not going to last as long as your typical Dungeons & Dragons campaign. It's a system meant to be short and sweet, where every successful session feels like you're scraping by. Not to say that your characters can't improve or grow, the system does have rules for regaining sanity and healing wounds, but still with each passing session, your player will feel as though they are inching ever closer to their inevitable demise and or madness. That is honestly why I recommend it so much to newer GMs, despite the fact that it is so tense. It is a smaller scale system where sessions tend to be more focused, campaigns are generally shorter, and the gamier side of things, while still present, take a bit of a backseat most of the time compared to other systems like D&D or Pathfinder, which tend to be a bit more mechanically complex. On top of that, it's an easier system to learn, with most dice rolls boiling down to percentile and character sheets mostly sharing similar traits. Everything that makes up this system sounds super intense and intimidating, but honestly, it is a super easy and fun system to learn, especially if you already have a little bit of experience with Dungeons & Dragons.
A major hurdle for beginner dungeon masters is campaign length. It can be hard to do a long-term multi-year campaign and keep things moving. Trust me, I know. So it's nice to have a system that is purpose-built for short-term stories. Between you and me, viewer, another bonus in a system like this where everything is so unforgiving, mistakes can be easily swept under the rug. All you gotta say is that you meant to do that. Your party knows it's a difficult system, so if somebody dies a little too early, you can just brush it off as part of the show. If you've sunk your teeth into Dungeons & Dragons and are looking to try out something new, Call of Cthulhu is the perfect system for people stepping outside of the Forgotten Realms for the first time. But we can both sit here and talk all day about how good of a system it is, but you won't really know how much until you see it played. Xandar?
Yes.
How's about running us a game of Call of Cthulhu?
Yes. This system is beautiful. Its complexity and deceptive difficulty contain the perfect tools of subversion to both enthrall and terrify my players. Ha ha ha!
Yeah, let's go with that.
All right, friends, to the table! As you descend to the deep, dark cellar, the smell hits you before you can even get a glimpse of what awaits you down there. rot, disease, and death. The scent assaults your senses. Do you wish to continue deeper and see what awaits you beyond the dark?
My detective will draw his .45 Magnum and hold it at the ready, flashlight pointed in front, and he will slowly round the corner.
And I'm right behind him with my knife in hand following his lead.
Do we see anything of note?
Mateus, as you shine your light into the room, you are met with a gruesome display. Bodies litter the floor, rotted and dismembered. Bursting from what little flesh remains on these bodies are horrible plant-like growths that glow in response to your presence. I am going to have to ask you all to make a sanity check.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. That's not good. Oh, no, we're chilling. We're good.
All right, here's hoping for a high number. Oh, no.
Oh, Zacharias. Poor Zacharias. Witnessing the horrors before you causes you to experience a horrible bout of madness. As of this moment, you now have a complete phobia of corpses.
Oh, damn.
And as for you, Mateus, although madness does not overtake you, you find yourself in a terrifying position yourself. Undistracted by the horrors before you, you now notice that one of the bodies in the room has begun to move. It slowly stands with its rotted head snapping in your direction.
How about absolutely not? I am shooting that fucking thing now.
Your shots pass through the creature with little resistance, and yet it continues to stand. It lurches towards you. The strange growths across its body glow excitedly, as if in anticipation of whatever it plans to do once it reaches you.
I think it's time we book it, Matt.
You don't have to tell me twice. Get me the hell away from that thing.
The monster gives chase, a horrible groaning being heard behind as it begins to gain on you. It reaches out a grotesque hand, attempting to grab at you, Mateus. Allow me to roll to see if it catches you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you can get all the latest updates on videos and streams from us here at D&Design. Have a topic you want to see covered? Let us know in the comments and we might select yours for a future video. Until next time, keep creating and roll on.